Hey guys, Hades here. I'm in Thailand. Here's my hotel room. In another video, I'll discuss the hotel room. This video, I want to discuss my worst flight ever. My worst, let's say, day of flying that I've ever had. It wasn't just one thing, and each little thing that happened probably wouldn't have been that big a deal if a bunch of them just didn't happen all on the same day. It was a very long day. My plan for this is to tell little bits of the story in different places. So I'm starting here in my hotel room. I planned a video where, because when I left China to come to Thailand, I stopped in Singapore. I was going to do a video where I showed the Chinese airport, I'm leaving China, showed the Singapore airport, I'm in Singapore, and then showed when I got to Thailand. I was not in the mood for that at all. I didn't film I didn't film till like the next day after I arrived here. I was just not in the mood. I was quite angry and very stressed out. But I'll tell you about it coming up. Okay, I'm at my hotel. Real quick look at the pool. It's hard to get a look at the pool because usually there's people in it. Okay, I'll talk more about this hotel in another video. This one I'm just going to continue talking about, or start talking about, my issues with my flight. First thing I want to say is I have insomnia. Sometimes I can't sleep. So the night before my flight, I stayed up all night. So that just compounded everything that happened the next day. By the time I did get to sleep, I had been awake for 39 hours. So just like I said earlier, it wasn't one little thing. It was a combination of a lot of things. So the first thing that happened was pretty small. It was just a bunch of small stuff, but it was so many things. I tried to get to the airport 3 hours early for an international flight, and I made no exception that day. I left my friend's apartment 4 hours before my flight was supposed to leave. And I believe this is Expedia's fault, but maybe Guangzhou airport in China, maybe their fault. But I'm leaning towards Expedia. There's two terminals there, Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. And on my receipt for paying on Expedia, it said go to Terminal 1. I went to Terminal 1, that was the wrong terminal. And that ended up killing about 30 minutes because I had to walk through the terminal to the bus, then take the bus, wait for the bus, then take the bus over to the other terminal. And it's weird, in that first terminal, the domestic flights, there was like 30 of them, and we got to international flights and there was 2. I'm not saying all day, but at least for the 5 or 6 hours that I was there was 2 flights. And that was a little weird, and it took forever. And I'll throw another thing in here, a little bit out of order. Wow, 7 times I had to show paperwork for my vaccination. When I first got to the first terminal, then when I got to the section waiting for the bus to go to the second terminal, then when I got to the second terminal, then when I went through security, and I went through customs, and I went through health check, and I went through check-in, and I went through immigration. It was ridiculous. A little annoying. Also, I got apps on my phone that never work correctly that they like to look at in China. That's the whole ridiculous thing I can make another video on. So there was that, but there was a lot of other stuff too. It is extraordinarily hard to find a place to record. I wanted to record in a lot of different places. It is so hard to find a place that's not blasting music. Okay, let me tell you about check-in. Check-in lasted 3 hours. I was in line 3 hours for check-in. And when I finally got to meet the lady I was supposed to check in with, we had some issues. First thing she said, okay, she just, look, I don't know if she's entirely incompetent or being severely malicious, because I just watched a lot of videos on people trying to leave China. So that got me a little paranoid. There's reasons for both. First thing she said, this because I was going from Guangzhou to Singapore to Phuket, Thailand. And first thing she said, this plane is not going to Thailand. And she said, you can't get to Thailand. And so I disagreed. Also, I brought a friend with me to to talk to. I knew I would need a Chinese friend with me to talk to her. And so once we settled the fact that yes, I could get to Thailand through this, then she said, okay, but then she said, I need a return visa, right? If I'm going to Thailand, I have to have a return visa. And I, with all this COVID stuff going on, I quadruple checked everything I was doing. And I said, I don't need a return. Not a return visa, a return ticket. I said, I don't need a return ticket. I know I don't need a return ticket. And then she said, okay. She agreed to that. Then she said, you need a Thai visa before you leave. And again, look, I made sure, 100% sure that I could do this. Because I know everyone's very crazy with COVID going on. I said, I do not need a Thailand visa. Some countries, depends on what country you're from. For example, the US, you don't need a visa to visit Thailand for 30 days. Just bring your passport. And I knew that. And even if you're Chinese and you wanted to go, it's okay. You could get a visa on arrival, which a lot of countries will do, right? You just have to spend some time, fill out some paperwork, pay some money. So I said, no, I don't need that. She said I can't go several times. And then of course, my bags were overweight. She charged for that. And then here's where I think maybe she's just incompetent. She forgot to collect the money for that and was about to give me my ticket till I said, so what do I do with my overweight bags? But yes, so then I had to go pay for them. But also, I think she was just being malicious, because I can't be the only one out of the 500, 300 people that were on that plane going to Singapore. I could not be the only one. And I know I wasn't the only one, because I met some people at another part of this horror story that were also going to Thailand. So a lot of what she said was a flat out lie. And she just kept saying I couldn't leave. She asked how much money I had, and I lied, and I said I had less than 10,000 American dollars. I had 12,000. I know I can't go to the US. I can go to the US, but I can't go with more than 10,000 without going through customs and clearing that. So of course I was going to spend 2,000 in Thailand. So she just kept telling me over and over. Finally, when I got away from the psychopath, she sent someone running after me to make sure I had enough visa pages, right? She said I needed at least 3 visa pages to be able to go left on my passport, or 3 pages on my passport, which I did, and that's also completely untrue. I don't know. The baggage part that she forgot to collect the money leads me to believe she was incompetent. But all the other things that were flat out lies lead me to believe she was being a little untruthful and malicious and not wanting me to leave the country. So yeah, fun stuff with that. More of the story later. Hey guys, all right, we're at Patu Waterfall. I'm gonna do a separate video on that. I wanted to talk about my flight some more. The flight, after the check-in debacle and going through all the other stuff, the flight was delayed for 2 hours. I rushed because I was worried. Check-in took 3 hours, so I rushed. I didn't eat anything. Then I still got to the terminal I had to be in, and I had to just wait there. And because it was China in Guangzhou, everything was closed. I could have walked back a long way and got something to eat, but they delayed the flight basically for 2 hours. They delayed boarding for an hour, then we finally got on the plane. Then they delayed takeoff because all the bags weren't on. The captain of the plane kept saying it was China's fault. It was Guangzhou Airport. It was not Singapore Airlines. And I tend to agree with him after all I went through at the Chinese airport. It was very hard to get out of that country. So the flight was delayed, and of course, because I had a connecting flight in Singapore to Phuket, I missed that. But I'll talk more about that later. Hey guys, this is the last section I'm filming. I thought I filmed this section in Thailand, but I can't find it. I had hundreds of videos, some of them just 5 or 10 seconds. When you're recording like 8 or 9 or 10 videos together, it's a mess. It took me all day, a couple days ago, to try to organize all these different clips to put into different videos. And yeah, it's just a mess. It's taken me a long time. Anyhow, I wanted to mention a couple things that were mentioned in other sections of this video and give you one more little section. Okay, so the lady in China, in Guangzhou, also said the flight wasn't going to Singapore. And of course it was. There's only 2 flights in the international section of the airport, in the international terminal. And it was, but she said that too. She really was trying to say a lot of things to get me to not go or be able to go. It was weird. And I forgot to mention in the very last clip that I was awake 36 to 38 hours before I finally got some sleep that night. So it was a long time. And my next flight, I was awake longer, but that's a different video. And overall, the next one wasn't that bad. Okay, let's talk about what happened when I hit Singapore. I hit Singapore late. I was very worried. You know, I missed my flight. The flight had already left by the time I got to the airport. And I was extremely worried. I was asking the flight attendants, hey, what do I do? What do I do? They said, there will be someone there you could talk to. And I went, and there was someone there to talk to. I wasn't the only one who missed my flight. There was a lot, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 different flights going out that people were trying to get on, and just one of them was to Phuket. And so there was about 10 or 12 people there that they had to organize and talk to individually. And they said there's another flight that night, which was great, right? I thought I'd be waiting in the Singapore airport overnight. They said there's another flight that night, and so that was good. It was in, I don't know, an hour and a half from when I landed, roughly. So I had to walk and walk and walk and walk to another terminal. I didn't walk all the way there. I walked a while, probably like, seriously, maybe a mile to another terminal. And, well, to get on a shuttle to get to the other terminal. And then I went to the other terminal, talked to the lady. The line wasn't that long. I only waited in line 5 or 10 minutes, and then they got me on the next flight. And then I had to walk all the way back. I had a lot of walking, probably a couple miles worth of walking in that airport. And everyone had to wear their mask, but there was a smoking section, so that was cool. I got to have a cigarette, but I didn't have time to eat. By the time I got all that done, all that mostly walking, I went from terminal, I don't know, let me check. From Terminal 1 to Terminal 3, then I had to go back to Terminal 1. And I got that all done, but I didn't have time to eat. But at that point, it was boarding pretty soon. So I didn't get to eat. But, you know, that was a little annoying. Singapore is a big airport. I wanted to go back maybe sometime just to do Singapore Airport because it's so huge. But everyone was you had to wear your mask the whole time. I didn't like it, but a lot of walking around, a little annoying. But I did get on a flight the same day. It was only a couple hours after my original flight, which was good. Okay, I'm at Katu Falls, and I wanted to do a really quick other section. I'll do another video on this. But the food on the flights, it was horrible. The one from Guangzhou to Singapore was absolutely disgusting. They said, do you want meat or vegetarian? And I said, I guess meat. They didn't say what kind of meat it was. When I ate it, I didn't know what kind of meat it was. Basically, in a really salty bouillon, there was this whitish meat, very salty. Other than that, pretty tasteless. And as a side dish, the most tasteless rice I've ever had. But I mean, that was bad. I couldn't even finish it. 1 bite of rice and maybe 2 bites of the meat, and it was pretty rough. However, I will say on the flight from Singapore to Phuket, the food was much better. It was like a beef stew. Maybe it's because I was starving and hadn't eaten in almost 24 hours, with the small exception of on the other flight. But it tasted really good. So on the second flight, the beef stew was really good. Or I was just so hungry, it tasted really good. But it was cool, but it was just a little portion, unfortunately. Hey guys, I'm not in Thailand anymore. I didn't quite finish this video when I was there. I do want to show you something. This will be in a future video. Anyhow, I want to just talk about the last thing, I think, let's kill this video. Let's finish it. Now, when I complain about my travel, of course, I've seen the movie Alive, where the plane crashes and they have to eat the people who died. I know I was nowhere near in the worst plane situation ever, but I'm just complaining a little. This is complaining, and a lot of stuff did go wrong. Again, it's all small stuff, but added up all together, it made for kind of a bad trip. Last thing that happened, right? I finally get to Phuket, Thailand, and I go to get my luggage, and one of my bags is not there. And of course, you have to wait till everyone else is gone before you go, and the machine's done, and you have to go talk, make sure there's no more bags coming out. So I was there quite a while. I went to go talk to the lost luggage people, and they tried to find my luggage. I was there for 30 minutes while they're calling around, and they said, yeah, it's in Singapore. So yeah, they did give me 2,500 baht as, I don't know, some sort of restitution for that. But keep in mind, I had to pay 1,200 RMB for the extra bag. So let me check real quick. So I paid 178 US dollars for the extra bag, and then when they reimbursed me, it was $63. So I would have at least liked them to reimburse me for the extra bag. But with that said, they got me my bag. They said it would come in the morning, and it didn't. It came in the afternoon, but they did send it to my hotel. I got it. Nothing was destroyed. Everything was okay. And after that, I had a wonderful trip. So next video, I'll be talking about other stuff in Thailand. I got a few Thailand videos, and then of course, some real camping and hiking type stuff. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.